Hey, what's going on? Here we go, show. Steelers won 37-15 against the Jets. It was the Russell Wilson debut game. Holy smokes, 37 points, back-to-back weeks of 30-point games. That was fun to see. Oh man, let's talk about it. Now, first things first. Make sure whoa, that is loud. First things first. Make sure you let me know how the audio sounds. Can you even hear me? That's important to me. Can you hear me? Oh, the audio sounds amazing. Audio sounds amazing. What's going on? Ramir, how you doing? Ramir? Holy smokes. All right, let's get into it. Steelers beat the Jets 37-15. Fun game. Fun game. Last week the Steelers blew out the Raiders and I just was not having fun at all. I was having fun watching this game. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since I enjoyed watching the Steelers offense. Now, first things first, let's start the same way we've been starting for every game recap. Mike Tomlin, defensive head coach. His defense had a good game. Now, I know Aaron Rodgers is kind of picking apart the Steelers defense at times. Aaron Rodgers, quick slant to Garrett Wilson. Aaron Rodgers, quick slant to Devontae Adams. Whether it worked or not. But outside of that, I think when Mike Tomlin has the guts to make a switch to Russell Wilson, when Justin Fields is 4-2, it's a gutsy move. It's a gutsy move. And for it to pay off, great look. It's a great look for Mike Tomlin. One of his better coach games. Y'all know how I feel about Mike Tomlin, but today's not going to be the day I say fire him. That's for when we lose a game. I got to save that for when we lose a game. But hey, y'all know how I feel about it. But Mike Tomlin had a pretty good game today. Pretty well coached game today, especially for Russell Wilson to be put in there and the team scores 37 points. Love it. Love it. Now, as always, before we get into our quarterback, let's talk about the other team's quarterback, Aaron Rodgers. They paid this guy all this money to do what? Throw picks? I mean, it's clear at this point that Aaron Rodgers' gamble didn't work out. I mean, year one of Aaron Rodgers, he got hurt, obviously. 4 snaps into the game, 5 snaps if you count the Achilles. That's an awful joke. But even this year, like, so many people were saying the Jets are a quarterback away from being a contender. It's like, are you sure about that? A quarterback away? Come on. Come on. Let me make sure this is even working. Okay, y'all can hear me. A quarterback away? Give me a break. Give me a break. Like, Aaron Rodgers clearly ain't getting it done for the Jets. You can't go into Pittsburgh and pick apart the Steelers defense like a team like the Falcons did early on in the game, like the Raiders did early on in the game. I mean, like I said, Aaron Rodgers had some nice throws. You know, it wasn't all bad, but at the end of the day, Aaron Rodgers did an Aaron Rodgers. He didn't do enough for his team to win the game. And we saw that again today. He's one of the more overrated quarterbacks. Now, I'd be lying if I didn't tell you that I love watching how he throws his footballs. Like, he's one of the best throwers of the football I've ever seen. Like, the way he can throw from all kinds of different arm angles, send the ball downfield. He has some good throws downfield that were unfortunately picked off. I enjoy the way he throws the football, I got to say. But outside of that, I mean, one of the reasons he ain't won a Super Bowl in the last 15 years is he's not good enough. He was good, but not good enough. He never steps up when they need him to step up. He didn't do that today. Today he threw 2 interceptions, both to Beanie Bishop, who had another great game, who had a great game today. Shout out to Beanie Bishop. Now, one of them wasn't Aaron Rodgers' fault. Aaron Rodgers threw the ball. The first one, Aaron Rodgers threw the ball towards the middle of the field. It was just a heads-up play by Beanie Bishop to get his outside hand in there, pull it in, run it back. Still, I mean, if you're Aaron Rodgers, you can't throw that ball in traffic the way you did. You know what I'm saying? Now, on that second interception, it was a great ball by Aaron Rodgers. It was a great ball by Aaron Rodgers that Garrett Wilson just dropped, freaking bobbled it out of his hands. Beanie Bishop heads up play once again, tucks it in, takes it down to the 1-yard line. At the end of the day, I mean, Aaron Rodgers didn't do enough to help the Jets win. What a shocker. I'm not. But hey, that was Aaron Rodgers. Now let's talk about the thing we all want to talk about. Russell Wilson. I was critical of the Steelers for putting in Russell Wilson initially. Y'all know how I felt about Justin Fields all offseason. Y'all know how I felt about the quarterback situation all offseason. And in case y'all weren't sticking around since then, let me kind of give you a refresher. I was pretty, I don't know if stubborn's the word. I think I'm still stubborn on the quarterback situation, but I was pretty hell bent on the idea that the Steelers still don't have a quarterback. Yeah, they have Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, but neither of them are going to win you a Super Bowl. And I still stand by that. I'm okay with standing by that. You don't have to agree with me. I don't think we've seen enough from either of these two quarterbacks to suggest, like ever, to suggest that these guys are good enough to win a Super Bowl. They're not. Justin Fields wasn't, even if he was 4-2, he still wasn't good enough. He was 4-2, but in my opinion, he wasn't good enough. And Russ today, he had a good game. But that's it, just a good game. He didn't have a great game. He didn't have an elite game. He had a good game. And get out of here with the stats, 3 touchdowns, 200-something yards. Russell Wilson had a good game. He wasn't lights out, but he had a good game. Not Super Bowl good, but he had a good game. Right. And I do believe the Steelers need to leave Russell Wilson in there. Now, rewind to before this week when the rumors are coming out that, or the reports are coming out that Russell Wilson is going to start. I was initially very critical. I still feel like Justin Fields probably gives this team the best chance to win going into this week, at least. Maybe after today, I have a different take on that. But we saw today that Russell Wilson brings something new to the offense. It's something I didn't expect. I knew his moon ball was going to be something that we're going to have fun watching whenever Russell Wilson would take over. I just didn't expect it to be so fun. Like there were several moon balls today. Now, a lot of people talk about how, Russell Wilson underthrew so many of the moon balls. And it's like, well, it's not about that. When Tom Brady throws a deep ball, he's throwing for accuracy, right? That's not what Russell Wilson's doing. Like, let's be very clear, from the mind of a quarterback, the reason you throw a moon ball is to give your receiver a ton of time to make adjustments and come down with the ball. Like, the combination of the Russell Wilson moon ball and George Pickens is just buenissimo. That's exactly who you want to be throwing moon balls to. It's why people were so excited to see Russell Wilson teaming up with George Pickens finally, and it paid off. He threw various moon balls to George Pickens, and he came down with like 3 out of 4 of them. But George Pickens came down with a touchdown from one of them. It wasn't, the touchdown wasn't exactly a moon ball, but it was a beautiful back shoulder fade to the receiver, up and over a defender to George Pickens for a touchdown. Love to see it. Once again, it's pretty refreshing to see getting George Pickens involved. I just really like the pairing of Russell Wilson and George Pickens. Justin Fields isn't he's not a good passer. Justin Fields isn't a good passer. That's not exactly a good combination, him and George Pickens. Russell Wilson's a better passer than Justin Fields, but that moon ball combined with George Pickens, oh my God. It was wonderful. It was thrilling to see. Now, let's be very clear. Eventually, one of those is going to get picked off, but I think the benefit of throwing a moon ball to George Pickens just really outweighs the risk, and you got to continue doing it. Not only because it works, but number 2, you got to keep George happy. You got to give him those targets when he may not even be open, which is why I think the moon balls to George Pickens really works. I love to see it. Now, like I said, Russell wasn't great by any means. How many times is he going to throw the ball at a guy's shoelaces? Like, what? We saw that first half, right? How many? He couldn't effectively throw a screen pass. He couldn't get the ball 5 yards to his receiver in the flat. It's like, well, he was getting rightfully criticized early on in the game, including me. I was criticizing him too. I was like, oh, see, I told you. He's not much better than Kenny Pickett. He's better, but not much better. That first half, I was feeling good. Oh, yeah, I was right. I want everyone to apologize to me. But he got better as the half went on. He got better as the game went on, especially in the second half. Just sending moon balls down to George Pickens several times. And not just George Pickens. Calvin Austin got one too. He was wide open, though, so I wouldn't even call that a moon ball. But it was working. Like, whatever Russell Wilson was doing, his moon balls, and his ability to keep his guys in the game, help his offensive line with good footwork, good pocket presence, and finding the open receiver downfield, and even finding the unopened receiver downfield. It was like it's a breath of fresh air. Like Justin Fields wasn't doing that consistently. Now clearly Russ was just knocking some rust off in the beginning. We'll see if he can keep that up. Like you wonder how much of that was Jets defenders getting hurt. Sauce Gardner went down with an ankle injury, I believe. Multiple one guy, Ashton Davis, took Jalen Warren's knee to the head. That sent him out probably with a concussion. One of the Jets D linemen went out with a neck injury. Reports say that he had movement in the lower extremities or in his extremities in general. So that's good to hear. Prayers up. I mean, I'm not the praying man myself, but our quarterback is. So prayers up to that one. Oh man, what was his name? I don't remember his name, but yeah, prayers up to him. If you're a praying type, prayers up to him. Man, at this point, like I said, going into this game, I was critical of Mike Tomlin's decision to put Russell Wilson in. But as the week went on, as the practice week went on, I was like, Marcus Whitman, of that franchise guy, brought up a good point. The Steelers aren't going to win playoff games with Justin Fields' leg. You're not going to win playoff games because your running game is solid. Like it clearly hasn't been working. Like, when has the Steelers' running game been most efficient? Oh, it's when the passing game has been most efficient. The passing game is what's been opening up the running game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And Justin Fields wasn't really opening up the passing game. So it's like, why is Najee Harris look terrible? Partially because we can't get the passing game going. But with Russell Wilson in there and all the moon balls going on, it's like, hey, this is working. Najee Harris was rolling. Jalen Warren was rolling. Pat Freiermuth was rolling. This run game was rolling. And it's like, well, one thing Russell Wilson does is you got to see, going into this game, you got to see, does Russell Wilson force the offense to take a step up? And they showed it did. So we're going to see this week. Is it again on Thursday? Is this game on Thursday? When do the Steelers play? They play on they play on Monday night. They play next Monday night. So Steelers get a little mini bye. So that's good to hear. Maybe get kind of healthy with the extra day of rest. We're going to go into New York. The offense is going to look pretty good again. We're going to see a lot of Russell Wilson moonballs. I mean, the Giants just got smoked they scored 3 points today. And against the Philly defense, like, we're going to feel good going into the bye because of Russell Wilson. We're going to feel good going into the bye. I had fun watching Russell Wilson play today. Now, I acknowledge he wasn't great. Still not good enough to win you a Super Bowl. Like, what happens if Beanie Bishop doesn't get that interception that Garrett Wilson bobbles? This is a closer football game and a more hair-pulling football game than we'd want it to be, than it was. It'd be a one-score football game if Beanie Bishop doesn't get that second miracle of a pick because Garrett Wilson bobbled the ball. But still, Russ brought something new to the offense, and it's the moon ball. And I look forward to seeing what the moon ball does for the Steelers offense as the year goes on. Because right now, the Steelers, I stand by this. You're never going to convince me otherwise until times actually change. This is a passing-driven league. This is a quarterback-driven league. You're not going to win Super Bowls with a running quarter. You're not going to win Super Bowls because your quarterback can run. It helps, but if your quarterback can't pass, Justin, you're not going to win Super Bowls. So right now, Russell Wilson, I believe, gives the Steelers the best chance to win a Super Bowl. So far, he's proven me wrong. He's been pretty good putting up points. He put up 24 unanswered points for the Steelers. Justin Fields ain't doing that. Justin Fields put together a comeback, but actually won. But choked it away. Russell Wilson put together the comeback and actually won the game. So yeah, I advocated for the Steelers to bring Russ here because he's gonna be a $1 million cap hit, and he's gonna be better than Kenny Pickett. Then I kind of trailed off on the Russ talk. It's like, he's not that good. I watched his tape. He's not that much better than Kenny Pickett. Now, he's no Mahomes, obviously. He's no Josh Allen, obviously. He's no Lamar Jackson, obviously, but he's definitely a lot better than Kenny Pickett. And he's better than Justin Fields, like clearly, in terms of the passing game. He wasn't great, but Justin Fields wasn't good enough. Just Russell Wilson, his moonball to George Pickens, that combination is just deadly. It is deadly, absolutely deadly. And I'm glad we got to see it today. I had a lot more fun watching Russell Wilson than I thought I did. I was so critical of Russell Wilson and Mike Tomlin for even the notion of putting Russell Wilson in. But it worked. Today, I've been proved wrong, and I hope they continue to prove me wrong. Like, hey, last year, Russell Wilson against the Chiefs put up 3 touchdowns and won. Like, that'd be nice to see. That'd be a nice Christmas gift. Do I think that's going to happen? No. The Chiefs are 6-0. They're going to win the Super Bowl again. I mean, but it's going to be interesting to see what Russ can do for you the back half of this season. Let's look at the back half of the schedule. The Steelers play the Giants next. The New Jersey Giants win. Probably, right? Unless Tomlin games that one away, and that's another loss. We're 6-2 at that point. Going into the bye, 6-2. Come out of the bye, play Washington. Jane Daniels is starting to get beat up. Will he even be healthy by the time he plays the Steelers? How's he going to look against the Steelers defense? Are they going to give him fits? That's going to be interesting to see. And then after that, your opponents, Philly, KC, Bengals, Ravens, Browns, Bengals, Ravens, Browns. I mean, I look at the Ravens. Lamar Jackson's won 1 game against the Steelers ever. I look at the Browns. They give the Steelers fits sometimes, but I mean, who's a better quarterback, Russell Wilson or DTR? Even DTR went. Who's a better quarterback, Russell Wilson or Jameis Winston? Bill Cosby's done for the season. DTR went out with a shoulder, I think. Jameis Winston ain't looked that good. Okay. Maybe chalk that up. Another 2 wins, probably. Lamar Jackson can't beat the Steelers. Another 2 wins. I mean, we're talking about 4 wins right there. The Steelers are 9-2. You know. How about the Bengals? Well, the Bengals kind of beat up the Steelers. Joe Burrow kind of owns the Steelers defense. So, at best, we're splitting with the Bengals, in my opinion. So, what are we, 5-2 right now? We're 5-2 right now. You beat the Giants. You're 6-2. Maybe you call it a coin flip against Washington. So let's say 7-2. You gotta assume you're taking 2 against Lamar. So 9-2. You gotta assume you at least split with Joe Burrow, right? TJ Watt kind of likes to embarrass Joe Burrow sometimes. So what? 10-3. Then you look at the Browns. You got to assume you're taking 2 against the Browns. 12-3. Am I crazy? Like this? Maybe this season goes a lot better for the Steelers. Then I think let's actually look at the schedule. We're kind of riffing at this point. Who was I missing? So after this week, we're 5-2 right now. Let's say we got to assume you beat the Giants, right? Beat the Giants, you're 6-2. Bye week. Washington. Okay, let's call that 7-2. Ravens. Call that 8-2. Browns, 9-2. Bengals, 9-3. Browns again, 10-3. Eagles. Jalen Hurts kind of likes to embarrass the Steelers sometimes, so I'll call that 10-4. Ravens. I mean, hey, maybe Russ is hurt at that point. Maybe the team's getting even more beat up. Defense is getting even more beat up. Let's call it 10-4. Chiefs, you have to assume you lose to the Chiefs. You just have to assume. Like, there's no evidence this team's going to beat the Chiefs. Like, talk to me come Christmas, but right now, you have to assume this team's going to lose to the Chiefs. So, 10-5, right? Did I do that math right? 10-5, 12-5, 11. And then Bengals, let's say you lose to the Bengals. So, you're looking at maybe an 11-6, 12-5 season. Right? If things continue to go the way they're going. Now, does Russ take a step up as the weeks go on? Maybe. Maybe he turns into an above average quarterback. Right now, he's average, you know. Moonballs give something different to this offense that I like to see. Nothing I love more than than a few moon balls. um, but I look forward to see what we can do with Russ. To me, to me, the Steelers are kind of like the Cowboys, except the Cowboys have a quarterback, but the Cowboys also have a terrible owner, so it cancels out. And the reason in which I say that is the Cowboys like to make a lot of noise during the regular season, but come playoff time, they get booted in the first round. That's literally the Steelers. Steelers make all their fancy noise in the regular season and get booted in the first round by the Bills. It's like, so to me, I have a much harder time enjoying the regular season just because it's like when you can already see the end of the tunnel, and the end of the tunnel is you getting booted by the Chiefs or Bills. It's like, oh, okay, this win against the Jets is fun, but when the season's gonna end again with a Bills loss in the playoffs, it's like, I don't know. It makes this win feel less special. When this is a really special win, Najee Harris had a big game. Russ had 3 touchdowns. Good for him. Beanie Bishop, good for him. But it's like, what is this all leading to? Maybe I'm just being negative, but, do the Steelers deserve my positivity is my question. I don't know. Drop some questions in the chat. We'll do a little session of viewer questions before I sign off here. Ramir, what's going on? Dubs. Jen says, let's go. Daniel Fortes, Russ is the Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback with the most eatable. Did I read that right? Russ, the Steelers quarterback with the most eatable. What the heck? Please drop some questions. Anything but that. What do I even say to that? Russ, the Steelers quarterback with the most eatable donkey is the word I choose to use. What the heck? What in the world kind of question is that? What? What? I gotta pin this. What the heck? I need drop some questions in the chat. Holy smokes. Jacob says, yo, who would I start against the Giants, Russ or Fields? You got to start Russ. There's no way you go back to Fields right now. If you're going to go back to Fields, it's got to be a last-ditch effort. Daniel, that comment is crazy. I don't know if I'm supposed to laugh or what the heck? This is a family show. What the? Well, holy smokes! What kind of a question is that? I do one live stream to recap this game, and you leave that comment. What in the world? Please, I need y'all to drop some questions. I'm gonna start dropping questions myself. How? Oh, Here We Go Show asks, how do you feel about Mike Tomlin? Well, Here We Go Show. My answer to that is he had a good game today. It was a gutsy decision to put Russell Wilson in there with how well Justin Fields has been playing. But it paid off. He made me look silly. Respect to Mike Tomlin for that one. As much smack as I talk on him, he proved me wrong right there. He got me on that one. Oh man. Maybe I do a live stream for the next time we do this. This was fun. I need to go to sleep. Daniel, I'm going to be thinking about you, man. I'm going to keep you in my heart. Seek help. Russell Wilson, the most. Oh my God. Y'all in the live. When you guys watch the replay of this video. My name is Devin Engel. Pirates, please sell the team. Daniel, come on. Ramir, do you think there's a world where we keep both QBs? Thank you for asking that question so I can not look at Daniel's comment anymore. Do I think there's a world where we keep both QBs? I mean, yeah, there's in the world of infinite, in a universe of infinite worlds or infinite universes or whatever the phrase is. Sure, there's a world. I mean, it, there's not many notable quarterbacks coming out of this class unless the Steelers just lose out and can get Cam Ward. You got to go get Cam Ward. But if Russ continues to have games like this and gives the Steelers 37-point games, yeah, there's a world we keep at least him. I mean, I don't know where else Fields is going to go. You know, who's going to want him? Like, is he going to go to the Giants? I don't know. He's a free agent after this year. I don't know what you do with him. I don't know. Do I think there's a... Yeah, there's a world. There's a lot of worlds, and I'm sure that's one of them. Jennifer Preuser says, how do you feel about Danny Smith? He's one of my... I mean... Can you name another special teams coordinator in the league? I can't. That's probably saying something about Danny Smith. I've been watching football for like 20 years at this point, which makes me feel old. Yeah, no, love him. Like, I might dress up as Danny Smith for Halloween, shave my head, dye it white, chew an obscene amount of gum. This was fun. Tune into next week's live stream. I might have to do this again. This was real fun. Hey, y'all have a good night. Pirates. Sell the team. Goodness gracious. Please sell the team. Please sell the team. Y'all have a great day. Have a great night. I'm Devin Engel. Go Steelers. How do I turn